Open fire.
Got it.
From Learfield Sports on the Wolfpack Sports Network, Wolfpack football is on the air. This is the Wolfpack Coaches Show, presented by Lexus of Leno. Also brought to you by Bud Light, Bully's Sports Bar and Grill, and by Charter. Live from the Little Waldorf Saloon, here is your host, Ryan Radke.
Hey, welcome everybody. Great to have you for another week of the Wolfpack Coaches Show, live from the Little Waldorf Saloon. The Wolfpack football team getting set to go into their final game of the season coming up a week from Saturday. The BYU Cougars will be at Mackey Stadium for a noon kickoff coming up on November 30th. Our final football show of the season. Pleased to have Brian Polian with us. As always, we'll talk a lot about the game coming up. We'll revisit last week's victory over San Jose State, and then a little bit later on in the show, we'll kind of talk about the future and what that holds for Nevada football. Also talk with one of the Wolfpack seniors coming up a little bit later on in the show as well. But, Coach, let's begin with your game last week against San Jose State. You know, you had a lot of questions after the loss to Colorado State about where do you go from here? The bowl streak is out the window. What do you do with your guys? How do you get them to play? You said, hey, we're going to go out there. We're going to coach the same way. We're going to prepare the same way. And I thought your team came out and gave an outstanding effort against San Jose, come away with a 38-16 victory. I said it after the game to you. I'll say it again. I just think you have to be really, really proud of the way that your guys showed up and competed against the Spartans.
Very proud of our team and our coaches, and I thought everybody did a really nice job of staying in the moment and not there was a lot of negativity around the program because obviously the season has not gone the way that we hoped that it would have. But they really compartmentalized everything and stayed focused on the task at hand in the week. And I thought we practiced really well. And we were able to finally put it all together in all three phases of the game. And more than anything, I'm just happy for our guys because we haven't executed very well, and there have been times when it's been really frustrating. But the one thing is that they've kept working, and like we've said around our building, they have kept chopping wood, and they deserve some success. And the joy in that locker room and the relief, it was well deserved. I'm proud of them.
You know, one of the themes of this season has been, okay, the team plays a really good first half and then just isn't able to carry it over into the second half, where they get themselves in too big of a hole in the first half to come back in the second half. I would think, looking at the second half of this game, it seemed like your team was almost better coming out of the locker room after they played a really solid first half together.
Yeah, we usually feed them peanut butter and jelly. This time we went from grape jam to strawberry, so maybe that was the big secret. I don't know. We preached a lot at the half about let's just play one play at a time. Let's not think about, oh boy, here comes the next 30 minutes, what's going to happen. It was very much let's just play the next play. And for the defense to go out and pitch a shutout, and for the offense to go out and continue to move the ball and take care of it in the second half. And I was very proud of them, and it was good to see it all come together. And frankly, it's good for our fans to see that progress. That it's not just all coach speak. We are making progress, and these younger players. Patrick Clifford plays his best game. Cody DK plays significantly better than he had in the weeks before. Our offensive line's back whole again, at least for 3 quarters until McCauley goes down. But it was good for everybody to see the progress, and I was really very thankful to our fans. That was a better crowd than I thought we'd get with a 7:30 start and cold temperatures, and we appreciated the energy that they brought, and it was a good night.
How much better does that make things around your building this week, and especially with one more game left to play, getting a victory like that one against San Jose?
No doubt. It brightens everybody's moods. It makes the atmosphere on Sunday and Monday a whole lot better. I'm not naive to the fact that, as we're headed into a bye week, to now have 2 weeks of positive energy to build off of, 2 weeks of positive things to talk about publicly. Those things matter. I mean, it builds some momentum, and frankly, we had a lot of good players there in recruiting, and for them to witness a really positive performance is a big deal.
You know, there's a lot of things that we can talk about in this game, but before we get into individual performances and things like that, talk about best game of the year and all three phases coming together. Your offense did an outstanding job, ran the football very well. Your defense, you mentioned, pitched the shutout in the second half. But your special teams, especially your coverage units, were terrific all night long. What does that mean to you as a coach, to your staff, to see the way that this all came together? I know you would have liked to see it much sooner, but just to see all this work come together and have an effort like that.
In the moment, it's great. It's really... It's fun to watch all three units feed off of each other in terms of their energy. It's fun to see all the work come to fruition, to know that you had a good plan and we executed it well. It was good to see. When you go home that night and you're sitting there, in my case, I have a hard time going to sleep after a game. So it's a night game. It's still 2 a.m. I'm still a little wired up, and you're sitting there in your lazy boy, or in my case, rolling around in the bed going, dadgummit, why couldn't we play like that, against UNLV or San Diego State or Colorado State? But in the end, you're just happy for the guys, and it's fun to witness it all kind of come together like that.
Let's talk about your running game, because obviously for years the identity of Nevada's offensive football has been the ability to run, and you've talked about that so many times this year. If we're going to do what we want to do, we have to run the football better. 311 yards rushing as a team, 3 different guys with 80 or more, and it just seemed like a very physical running attack all night long. Tell me about the run game against San Jose and where the real positives were for you.
Well, I think it begins up front. I mean, to have the interior 3 of the offensive line all together and healthy for the first time in a long time clearly helped. I mean, people can say, well, everybody gets injured. Yeah, we're not very deep there, and we need to be whole and intact to have a real chance. I thought that having those 3 guys back there and playing physically really helped us. We talked all week about we needed to finish blocks, finish plays, finish runs, and I thought our tailbacks played their best game by far. Don Jackson and Kendall Brock running through arm tackles, making people miss in space, and finally able to hit. In the last 4 or 5 weeks now, you're starting to see us hit some longer 35, 40-yard runs, where earlier in the year we weren't getting those. And I think our ability to, it's simple to be effective in the run game. It's really the difference between, are you getting 3.5 per carry or 4.5 per carry? And sometimes that extra yard is the ability of the back to finish the run, to get on an edge, not get knocked backward. Yeah, you get taken down, but you get taken down while you're moving forward. And I really thought our 2 backs played their best game and finished runs.
I know the opening drive of the game was really important, to go down the field and to finish with a touchdown to take a lead. But we saw that against Fresno State, and then the offense kind of stalled out after that. This game, it was different. The offense was able to follow it up and get 2 more touchdowns. Was that second scoring drive maybe just as important in the first, to see that you guys were able to follow up on that opening drive and do more against San Jose?
Yeah, and it goes back to the theme of we had to finish. We had to finish quarters, had to finish drives by not, one of the big deals was let's win on first down so that we don't end up in 3rd and 11. We can't have penalties that puts us behind the chains. We need to finish drives, and we need to finish drives in the end zone and not settle for field goals. And we're able to do that. And to me, one of the biggest points in the ball game is we drive the ball down and fumble going in. Defensively, we come out, go 3 and out, get the ball back, and then finish that subsequent drive in the end zone. To me, I thought that was a huge point in the ball game and a sign of our maturity. A sign of our growth. There is growth here. We reacted to that adversity better than we would had 5-6 weeks ago.
And that score you're talking about was one of the long runs, a 39-yard touchdown run by Don Jackson that put you up by a score of 28-16. Talk about the running game and talk about the health of the offensive front. Cody Fajardo runs for 104 yards. Second week, he's been right around that 100-yard mark. How much has his health and the fact that really the read game is back to where you want it, how much has that helped what you've been able to do running the ball?
It helps everything. When he's a threat as a runner and the defense has to honor it, and he's got a chance to make chunk plays and convert 3rd downs, which he's done the last couple of weeks, that's a big deal. And when you run this offense and the quarterback needs to be a threat running the ball, obviously when your guy's healthy and he's as dynamic as our guy is, the healthier the better. And clearly the last couple of weeks, he's been healthy enough to play, but he's starting to feel like himself. The last month or so, you're starting to see he's starting to feel like himself again.
Picking up on your theme of yards per carry, Fajardo 7.4 yards per carry, Kendall Brock 5 yards per carry, Don Jackson 7.3 yards per carry in this game. That's some good numbers to see next to those guys' names. Nevada ends up with a 38-16 win over San Jose State, and now we'll welcome BYU to Mackey Stadium coming up a week from Saturday to close out the 2013 season. Much more ahead as the Wolfpack Coaches Show, live from the Little Wall, continues right after this. With more of the Wolfpack Coaches Show, live from the Little Waldorf Saloon. Proud to be Reno's game day headquarters and home for Wolfpack fans since 1922. The Little Waldorf Saloon, where history is made and traditions are celebrated. The Wolfpack football team coming off a 38-16 victory over San Jose State last Saturday night at Mackey Stadium. One more game remaining in the 2013 campaign. That'll be a week from Saturday with BYU coming to town. A noon kickoff. We'll be on the air with the Bud Light Tailgate Show beginning at 10:30. More with Coach Brian Polian. We were talking about the win against San Jose State, and talk about your defense, Coach. Shutout in the second half, and I thought maybe equally impressive in the first half, keeping San Jose State out of the end zone. A couple of times Spartans were driving, but you guys were able to force long field goal attempts. To the Spartans' credit, they made those field goals, but you were able to finish drives with touchdowns, and meantime kept the Spartans out of the end zone to allow you to have that advantage at the half.
Yeah, I thought we played better defensively. I thought we got really good pass rush. Poor Ian Seau has gotten more quarterback pressures with no sacks, but I thought Hecking played great again. I thought for us to be able to generate pressure with just our front four and not have to blitz fails was a really big deal, and I thought we got that, and we got into some situations where on third downs we got off the field. And Austin Lopez, the kicker at San Jose, I recruited him at Texas A&M and was trying desperately to get him to come as a preferred walk-on because I felt like this guy's really good. In a year or two, he could end up being the guy. And San Jose came in late and offered him. So I got a kick out of seeing him before the game, but I'm not surprised at how good he is because I had evaluated him personally, and he's a really good player. And to his credit, in some tough conditions, he made all his kicks. But, we were able to keep a really good quarterback in an offense that had been productive here, well under their average. And, we gave up some yards, but, as we've said before, yards is not a big deal. It's points. And it's the ability to get off the field on third down, and we were able to do that.
58 yards rushing in the game for San Jose. Now, clearly that's a pass-driven offense,
yes,
but their run game has been good enough to really complement that passing game this year. You guys really took that away from the Spartans. They were not able to get much going.
No, I thought Brian Lane did a nice job when we got into the 8-man fronts of coming down into the box and pulling the trigger, and I believe he had a couple of tackles in the backfield, and again, that's the difference when we're fitting our gaps right and running to the ball. We're pretty good, and I tell you, we're better than what we've been when we're playing the right way. And John McNeil having to move over to Mike, and Alex Bertrando, getting a start and playing well. With Dobie down with a concussion and Gabe Lee with the flu about 3 hours before kickoff, I thought those two guys did a nice job as well. I was happy for our defense, especially. Now, look, we dropped 2 picks. I mean,
right.
Charles Garrett gets hit in the chest, and, they always say, hey, there's a reason they're on defense and not on offense. But it's a teaching point to our kids. I mean, when we do ball drills on defense, you got to catch the ball. I mean, that keeps a field goal off. And then Marcus Smith should have a touchdown. I mean, on fourth down, he makes a great break, and we break it up. But there's another ball that hits us in the chest that he should catch and go 95 the other way. So, we made more plays. There were still more plays out there to be made, but we made more, and that was a positive thing.
Let's go back to Brock Hecking for a second, because we talked for the pregame show, and you had said, hey, this might be the week that Brock just can't go. I mean, he hasn't practiced a lot. He's been trying to get out on the field, but you had said at that time, this might be the week that he just doesn't make it out there. He goes out and has 8 tackles and 2 sacks. I mean, what do you say about this kid's effort playing on essentially one leg and giving you that kind of production?
Yeah, and that was no BS either. I mean, the trainer came in Thursday morning in the staff meeting, Ben Anguish, our trainer, and said, I don't know if he's going to make it. And we try to manage him as best we can to get him the mental reps and let him see the looks, but they have to practice by Thursday. If they can't practice by Thursday, they can't play in the game. And it was iffy, and he went out, and I'm not going to tell you he practiced the whole practice on Thursday, but he got enough reps that we said, okay, he's going to be okay. And I was encouraged. That may have been the one place that the 7:30 start may have helped us, because it bought us another half a day of treatment for him. And Ben Anguish, our trainer, did a fantastic job. And I thought Brock did a great job of all day Friday, all day Saturday, getting himself physically ready to go, and then for him to go out and play like that was just fantastic. And we're essentially giving him the week off this week. He won't do very much.
So Hecking plays very well. You talked about the development of Ian Seau this year, who has just gotten better and better week by week. And, with Brock a little bit banged up, we've seen a little bit more of Dupree Roberts-Jordan at defensive end. He gets his first sack in the game against San Jose State. So as we talk about the future and what's ahead for this program, nice to see some of these guys getting involved and being productive for you on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and we're getting, we're in the nickel packages. We're able to move Lenny inside now and try and get him matched up on a guard. And he had a sack and some pressures in the game. Dupree's played better the last couple of weeks, and there's always a transition from junior college football to Division 1A, and it seems like now with Dupree, he's starting to see it, and it's slowing down for him. Ian has gotten better week after week, and he's so disruptive. He nearly had a blocked field goal, nearly had a blocked punt. A very creative plan by Lester Erb this week when we went after. We saw them with a little wing out there, and we put Ian out there and said, sick him. And he got near a punt, and he's just been playing really fast and very disruptive. And we're getting production from role guys like our guest tonight, Jake Papard, is giving us 10, 15 plays a game, and he can go play end, and he can go play tackle. And, when you're banged up like we are, you need guys to come in and be able to spell you for 10, 15 plays a game, and we're getting guys to do that for us.
We saw a couple of your players this week honored by the Mountain West. You mentioned John McNeil a second ago, having to move over to the middle linebacker spot with Jordan Dobrich out. He responds with 15 tackles in the ball game. By the way, Matt Lyons also had 15 tackles, but McNeil 15 tackles, Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week. I think John's had a pretty productive season for you guys this year, whether he's outside or having to slide over to that middle spot.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's gone through transition, having to learn two spots, and we'd like in a perfect world not to have to do that to him. But he has gotten progressively better. I think John went through transition early in the year too, where last year he was a role player. He was a special teams guy, and I think John in the early part of the season noticed that when you have to play 65 to 70 plays a game defensively, that you need to be in a different kind of shape than you do to chase 5 punts and 5 kickoffs a game, and I think he will get noticeably better between this season and next season now that experience has taught him what it's like to play 75, 80 plays a game as opposed to maybe 15 or 20.
Your other conference honoree this week was your punter. Chase Tenpenny averaged over 51 yards on 4 punts and not a single return yard for San Jose State in the game. Killed a couple of punts down inside the 10-yard line. Obviously, you have a special place in your heart for the special teamers. I thought one of Chase's best games that we've seen him have here at Nevada.
He has gotten so much better. I tell you what, I wish we had him for another year. I really do. And he's been a weapon for us, especially the last 6 weeks. And it's a shame because early in the year, we gave up some return yards, and I can think of 2 long ones, one against UCLA and one against Florida State. So it kind of hurt our net punting average, and you look at the return, yardage per return, and it's not pretty. And I think as the Ray Guy Award Committee was putting together their data and looking at who they should be considering for that award, I think those things hurt him. But in reality, I think he's been as good as any punter in the country. And when it comes time for all Mountain West, I'm going to scream and yell because I think he's really just been fantastic.
We don't talk a lot about those types of plays as media and fans, but when a guy can give you a 56-yard punt as he did early and kill it on the 6-yard line, how much does that do for a team and getting some momentum in your favor?
Oh, the game is all about field position, and if you make them go the long haul, the odds will tell you that it's hard for a team to go 14, 15 plays and punch it in. I mean, it's just difficult to do. So when you can make them have to go 94, 95, 90 yards, it's hard. And even when they have some success, they still, they may have an 8-play drive and punt it back to you. Mm-hmm. So, field position is a big deal. And he's been a weapon for us this year.
I thought your kick coverage teams did a really nice job the entire night against San Jose. What did you see in that respect, really not letting the Spartans ever get that terrific field position?
Chris Solomon is developing into a really reliable special teams player. 2 great solo tackles, and really Gabe Lee's our best special teams player. He's a great kid. He is a.
We're good. Keep
Okay.
going. Hopefully.
He's a really, he's hard to replace. And so when he went down, now Chris Solomon steps up. Burton DeConing played his best game on the coverage units. So that stuff was to get guys to step up and play better has been good. And our coverage units over the last 5-6 games have been significantly improved. And a lot of those guys are young guys too. Patrick Clifford's out there, DK's out there. So those guys are naturally going to get better with more experience.
All right, one more game for the Wolfpack to go. That's coming up a week from Saturday. BYU will be here at Mackey Stadium. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about that game. We'll talk about the seniors. They're going to be playing their final home game at Mackey Stadium. And we'll talk about the future of Wolfpack football and what lies ahead as Nevada goes forward. Obviously, a big offseason coming up for this team. More of the Wolfpack Coaches Show presented by Lexus of Reno on the way right after this. Back with more of the Wolfpack Coaches Show, live at the Little Wall. It's presented by Lexus of Reno. One game left for the Wolfpack this season. Week from Saturday, the BYU Cougars will be in town for a noon kickoff. BYU's got Notre Dame coming up this weekend before they come to Mackey Stadium. This is our final football coaches show of the year. We won't be here next Wednesday with Thanksgiving on Thursday. So let's talk a little bit about BYU. I don't know how much you've had a chance to sit down and watch their tape, Coach, but what are your impressions of the Cougar team you guys will close the season against?
Well, my first thought is for the first time in a while, I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. I'm saying go Irish. They're a well coached, really physical, big, strong football team with some dynamic guys. Taysom Hill, the quarterback, I know him because he originally signed with Stanford and then went on a mission. And I don't know how this works out, but I mean, it feels like all these guys sign with somebody and they always end up back in Provo.
Yeah.
I don't know how those recruiting rules apply. But then, obviously Van Noy's a great player, and with the local ties here, we've got our work cut out for us. And the other thing that people forget is a lot of that football team does go on a mission. So by the time they're seniors, and I've been through this now because we played them when I was at Notre Dame, and you see the offensive line come out, and you're like, that guy might be 25 years old. I mean, they're physically strong, grown men, and I am concerned about our ability to stop the run because Taysom Hill is a dynamic runner as a quarterback, and you think about BYU offense, you think, boy, they're one of the first ones in America to start chucking it all over the yard, and they've really gotten away from that. As everybody else is now throwing it and running spread, they're back there sometimes with three backs and a quarterback that can run, and it's become truly option football. So we've got our work cut out for us, and I hope that they go play a really physical game this week in South Bend, and it's a long trip back home for them.
They're coming up on 2 1,000-yard rushers. You mentioned Hill, the quarterback, who has had a terrific year. Do you get a chance to sit down on Saturday and sit on the couch and watch the Cougars and the Irish?
A little bit. We're gonna Rolo and I are gonna take a little recruiting trip to Southern California, and we get back in town at about noon on Saturday.
Okay.
And between chasing my children around and the honeydew list, I hope to watch some BYU. And
there's no honeydew list during the season, is there?
Yeah, occasionally.
Oh, okay.
And then I hope to catch a little bit of Texas A&M at LSU because I am really I'm biased, but I think Johnny Manziel should be the Heisman Trophy winner again. I mean, he's so dynamic and responsible for so much of their production, and obviously we have very close friends still on that staff, and I know that's a big game for them going down into Death Valley.
All right. Well, Manziel's closing out on the end of his career at Texas A&M. You have some guys that are about to close out their career in silver and blue. Let me ask you about your senior class that'll be playing their final game in Nevada uniforms on Saturday. Some really terrific players in this class, and I know you've addressed this several times where people say, well, these aren't your guys, but you said, hey, this is my first senior class that I'm ever going to have, and I know you've grown very fond of a number of guys in this class that'll be playing in silver and blue for the final time.
I do, and that would have been the group that you would have said, okay, they're not all in, but not that it would be okay, but you might understand it. These guys are late in their career. This is not what they signed up for, and to their credit, the majority of them have been in 100% and have led, and they will always hold a very special place in my heart. And there are some obvious ones. Wimberly at 87 catches so far with a game to go. Joel Bitonio, who I think might be the best offensive lineman in the conference. Chase Tenpenny, Reynoso and Papard, and there are some guys that people don't know about that don't get a ton of playing time that are just wonderful guys and a joy to be around, and we're going to do a little thing, a couple weeks after the season's done where we're going to have a dinner just with the coaching staff and the guys that are leaving the program as a way for us to say thank you. But, I would really encourage our fans. I know it's a holiday weekend, but I really would encourage our fans to come out. It's a noon start. Let's come out to the Wolfpack Walk and thank guys like Arenzi, Bitonio, Wimberly, Reynoso, these guys that have really worked really hard to represent this community, the school, the program. it's their last chance, and we'd really like to send them out the right way.
This will be your first senior day as a head coach, but obviously you've been through it being on a staff at a number of different places. What do you anticipate this day will be like for you, regardless of the result on the field and what happens in the game? What do you think this day will be like for you?
It's a little bit tricky. I've been through some that were really emotional, and then it saps the emotion out of you. Mm-hmm. And by the time you hit the game, you're almost a little exhausted. So, you got to. Now that I'm in a position where they're saying, okay, how are we going to handle this? It's a little bit delicate. We can't just get up there in front of the team on Friday night and say, hey, we need to win for Wimberley and Matonia. I mean, there are going to be certain things we have to do to win the game, and that's what we need to be focused on. And if it gets a little bit hard, then maybe the thought of playing for our teammates might help us get over the hump. But the reality of it is we still got to go play and execute. And how do you balance the wanting to honor them the right way with still the fact that we got to get ready to play a game? We're going to take the field as a team, and then we'll introduce the seniors one by one, give them a chance to meet their loved ones out on the field and take a quick picture. And then when that's done, it's time to put it in the back of our mind and buckle our chin straps and go play.
Once the game is over on Saturday, obviously the 2013 season is in the books, and then a very important offseason for Nevada football begins. How much, obviously you've been so focused on games and winning games, but how much have you had a chance to start thinking about what comes next and what you guys need to get done going into this offseason, especially a very recruiting season, which you've been very busy in already, but a lot of work I'm sure yet to be done in that respect?
I would tell you, quite honestly, probably the last 2 weeks, in quiet times when there's not immediate work to be done, my mind has begun to shift to the off season and begin to plan. Matt Eck and I have already done the calendar for our off season strength and conditioning program. We've already done the dates for spring football, and we've set up all of those logistical things. The themes of what the off season are going to be, what our focus is going to be, my mind has already shifted there. And I've begun to collect my notes and start to get organized so that we can hit the ground running when the team gets back here at 8 p.m. on January 20th for our team meeting. But the recruiting becomes a main focus now, and it will start on Sunday after the BYU game. That I would tell you probably 7 to 8 of our assistants will be on planes or in cars Sunday, December 1st. And I'll conduct the team meeting the day after the BYU game, and I will probably be either on a red-eye out of town late Sunday night or at the crack of dawn on Monday morning. I'll be on the road because we've only got 2 weeks of contact before the holidays. The NCAA is kind of restructured a little bit, so we have to take advantage of our days, and I have to get out there and see these prospects. But our mind started to shift that way, and I know what we need to focus on, and Matt Eck and I have talked a great deal about how we're going to improve this football team through strength and conditioning and through hard work and discipline in the off season.
What are the top couple of things on your priority checklist for this team in the off season?
The first one is to be able to execute with critical efficiency when we are tired. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about the silly penalties that we've had this year. In overtime at San Diego State, we started a drive by jumping off sides. On what was to be a game-winning drive against UNLV, we get a false start. I mean, we've got to be able to function and think and concentrate when we are fatigued, and we've got to find ways to work on that in the off season. How can we tax them physically and then tax them mentally so that we can train that discipline? That's my first priority. We need to be bigger, quite frankly. We need to get stronger. We are a young football team, but we need to develop physically. I think of specifically Lenny Jones is a really good player. Lenny Jones' body's got more room for development. He needs to get stronger. Ian Seau needs to change his body. It's different in JUCO when you're a better athlete than everybody and you just run around them. He's still got speed, but we got to add power to his game. And so we need to continue to frankly just get flat stronger. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a big deal. And we're constantly trying to get train discipline into our team, because discipline in the weight room, discipline in the classroom, discipline in the community will lead to discipline on the field.
We only have about 45 seconds left here, and I know you'd rather not be part of the storyline, but first year as a head coach, you have been. What have you learned about yourself this year?
To be aware when ESPN's got the cameras on me. I don't know. I haven't gotten quite reflective yet. I mean, I'll probably do that around the holiday times. I can tell you that I've done the absolute best job that I can do. I don't have any regrets about anything that we've done. We'll certainly take a very hard look at everything, every decision that I've made, that the staff has made, and we'll look at it with a critical eye, and if there are places that we can get better, my ego will not get in the way. We'll simply look at it and try to get better. My main focus right now is to do absolutely everything I can to get this program back to the standard of excellence that everybody expects it to be. And you know, I want people to know that I'm living and dying by that right now, and you know, I'm not happy about how this season has gone. I love these kids. I love our staff. We're not thrilled about the way the year's gone. I understand our fans aren't either, but I can look myself in the mirror and know that we've worked our tails off.
Well, looking forward to the BYU game, looking forward to the future, and we thank you, Coach. You've been very generous with your time with us all year long, so thanks very much for that. Good luck against BYU, and looking forward to a great offseason.
It's been a blast. I hope everybody has a safe and happy holidays.
All right, Nevada head coach Brian Polian. We'll take a break, come back more of the Wolfpack Coaches Show presented by Lexus of Reno coming up right after this.
2, 1.
All right, we continue with more of the Wolfpack Coaches Show presented by Lexus of Reno. Jones West Ford is proud to sponsor the Wolfpack. Reminds you the next home game coming up on November 30th. The Wolfpack closes its season hosting BYU. You can get your tickets by calling 348-PACK or at NevadaWolfpack.com. Jones West Ford, trucks built tough like the Wolfpack. Nevada's final game against BYU. It'll be senior day at Mackey Stadium. We're pleased to be joined by one of Nevada's seniors, Jake Papard, who has been a big part of Nevada's special teams this year and also has seen time along the defensive line as Coach Polian talked about the rotations up there. I've had a chance to talk to a couple of seniors this season about what this has been like, and with the new coaching staff and all of this change, it seems like it would be hardest on you guys versus the young guys. What has this season been like for you personally and for your class as a whole?
I mean, coming in, it was definitely something else. I mean, I feel like we were completely bought in from the beginning. A lot of the guys, a lot of the seniors as well, and we were kind of like the forerunners for everybody. Like, okay, look, the senior guys are bought in. You know, juniors, sophomores, freshmen bought in as well. So, I mean, we were with Coach Polian from the beginning, and he's been doing so many great things for us as far as, you know, the Wolf Den, our little players' lounge, the locker room, which is now looks like a D1 locker room. We have, we have
as opposed to what it was before.
We have, I think it's a $20,000 speaker system in there that's all controlled by an iPad. So, I mean, the improvements have been out of this world.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
When you think about Senior Day, your last opportunity to go out onto Mackey Stadium, have you thought about what this is going to be like for you on Saturday?
I mean, it's mainly just going to be my mom bugging me. You know, smile, stand up straight, look good. You know,
how emotional is it going to be?
It's going to be pretty emotional. I've had 22 years of consecutive football from Pop Warner to high school to junior college to here. So it's going to be bittersweet, but I'm really going to enjoy it. I've been enjoying these last few weeks here, really kind of taking it in with the guys that I've come up with in this program, and it's been something else. But that day will definitely be emotional. I don't know about tears and waterworks, but it's definitely going to be like a release, almost like, wow, this is it.
I mean, it's interesting. Some guys always say, I'll think about that when the season's over. Then there are other guys that, like you, say, I've taken some time here to just kind of think back and appreciate the experiences and everything that I've gone through. You think the guys that haven't done that maybe are shortchanging themselves?
Oh,
somewhat?
Definitely. I mean, guys like me who aren't going to the NFL, but no stretch of the imagination. I'd get out there and run a 5.2 40. But guys like Batonio and Wimber, I mean, they're going to have, just watching those guys, they're going to have great careers in the NFL, and I hope the best for them. But a lot of those guys, if they're not enjoying it and they're not loving it, the senior class, I mean, I don't know really what to say to them, because this is it. This is your last hurrah,
Yeah. What is next for you? What is going to come? The NFL's not coming, so what's coming next for Jake Papard?
Definitely not. I don't think they want a short, slow white guy. So
hey, you never know.
Yeah,
you never know. So what is the plan after?
Well, I have applied to grad school here at the university, educational leadership program.
Very nice.
And I've kind of been joking around. Like today earlier, I joked around with Coach Polian about a graduate assistant position. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
If not, I mean, taking out some student loans. I've been on scholarship so far. So I mean, if I'm in debt with a master's degree, it's not too bad.
Yeah, welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Get to be a big kid now.
Taking on some debt. Hey, you've been here, you've gone through this, you talked about your experiences, and I know this year did not go the way that you guys wanted, but what do you see as the future of Nevada football when you look forward and see what this staff is doing?
When I said it's going to be bittersweet on Senior Day, a part of that, bitterness is I don't get to stick around for all the great things that are going to happen, and how Coach Polian has really changed the culture around here. Not only Coach Polian, but the rest of the coaching staff. I mean, they've just made it. The improvements are so great, and if you're a recruit looking to come here, come. It's a beautiful area. It's going to be some great football. Coach Polian is making some great changes as far as what he's already done with the locker room, the Wolf Den, our players' lounge, and I believe an indoor facilities coming soon. That's next in the works, and. I mean, it might take away from some of the toughness being out in the cold, but everybody loves an indoor.
I can't wait till you guys come back and see that indoor facility, and you guys will be the ones saying, you guys don't know what it was like back when we walked uphill in the snow.
Be sitting over there.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys don't know.
Come back wagging your finger at the young guys. Hey, Jake, have fun a week from Saturday. Thanks for coming down and giving us a few minutes tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jake Papard joining us here on the Wolfpack Coaches Show. We'll come back and wrap it up right after this.
3, 2, 1.
Back here on the Wolfpack Coaches Show, presented by the Little Waldorf Saloon, proud to be Reno's game day headquarters and home for Wolfpack fans since 1922. The Little Waldorf Saloon, where history is made and traditions are celebrated. Wolfpack football team will be in action a week from Saturday. They've got BYU coming to Mackey Stadium for a noon kickoff, and we'll be on the air with the Bud Light Tailgate Show beginning at 10:30. This is our final football show of the year. Thanks to our sponsors, Lexus of Reno, and of course all the great folks here at the Little Wall for making this possible. Thanks to Coach Polian and all of our guests throughout the season. Our basketball show will be on Monday nights. It starts December 2nd. We'll be here from 6 to 7 o'clock every Monday night beginning December 2nd through the end of the season with Coach Carter and guests. Thanks for being with us during the football season. Hope to see you at the BYU game, and we'll look forward to talking to you December 2nd for the Basketball Coaches Show presented by Lexus of Reno. Have a good night, everybody.